Hey guys, how y'all doing? Oh, there she is. Hello, hello. Hey girl, hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are
I'm
you?
good. Thank you. Thank you.
Look, I
Just
hope
had
we
to
don't
fix my
have an echo because I left my headset upstairs and I know we're on borrowed time because this thing got to get to class. Can't have you late for class.
No, actually, you know what? It's perfectly fine. My professor gave us independent study time today, so we're
Look at
good. Good to
that.
go. Won't he do it? Won't God
I'm
do
so excited. That
it?
is so cool. I'm so glad they did that. Hey guys, hey Kristen. That is so cool. That way we don't have to rush. I hate that I don't have my headset though,
Can you hear me
but
okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Turn my volume up just a little bit.
Yeah, I think I've got everything up on my end. I
Okay.
was I was having a nervous breakdown a minute ago. I don't do reptiles. And the cat is in here and she's chasing a lizard. And she ripped the lizard's tail off. And
Oh my
so
goodness.
I tell my daughter, I'm like, Victoria, can you please get it out of here? She goes to pick up the tail. Girl, tell me why the tail's still moving.
Oh.
I said, oh, hell no. Get that thing out of here.
Everybody would have had to go. Oh my goodness, no.
Girl, look, I couldn't get the cat back in the house. I was running out of time. I said, I can't believe I'm going to be late for my live behind some gecko. What in the world?
You gotta do what you gotta do. I understand. I perfectly understand. They all
All
right
right.
outside. I let them do their business outside.
Girl, my daughter was like,
Uh-uh.
that's what you get for moving your live into the garage. I was like, look, those were doctor's orders. He didn't say I had to share it, with the wildlife.
Right. Where were you doing your lives before? In the house?
Huh?
You were doing your lives in the house before?
Well, originally I had everything in my bedroom because
Okay,
my
gotcha.
daughter had came home from college, so my office was in the spare bedroom.
Right.
And while they were in college, and then they came home, and so I moved everything into my bedroom, and the doctor was like, "No, all that got to go."
Right. They're
I
absolutely
was
right.
okay.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, if I would have known you at the time that he said that, girl, me and you could have went live and did the whole ordeal of transforming my closet, my bedroom, my bathroom, and into the garage. It would have been amazing. But that's
Right.
okay because
It's
we're
all
gonna do
right.
it now.
Right. As long as it got
We're
done,
gonna do
it's
it
all
now.
right.
So you
Yes.
guys, this is Miss Gloria Miles, and she has this really cool business that I want all of you guys to know about. And it ties into Mental Health Monday.
Absolutely.
And she was at one of the expos. She did bar with me and
Yes.
Lotus Mother. And she has a business that ties into Mental Health Monday. So I was like, okay, well, we can do another live on Mental Health Monday so she can tell all of y'all about her business and why it's important to declutter and how it ties into mental health. So, real quick before we, jump into all the questions and everything. So, give them your 2 minute elevator pitch, all about your business,
Okay.
like you're on Shark Tank and you're trying to get 20.
Uh-oh.
You got 2 minutes to tell them
I got
what
this.
your business is, why they should book you, and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you, Sandra. As you said, I am Gloria Miles. My business is Space Solutions, and I'm a professional organizer. And what I do is help people regain control over their lives and clarity in their surroundings by getting rid of clutter and developing functional storage systems. Why is this important? Being unorganized, I'm sure, as we know, has so many different effects. It will affect you in every single aspect of your life, from running late to work, to your appointments, to being able to pay your bills on time, not even because you don't have the money, but because you don't have your things in order. Like, I think there's a statistic that said that most people that are late on their bills, if it's not because of money, it's because they can't find their paperwork. They don't know where their documents are and things like that. And so to live a functional and effective life, it is imperative that you are organized. And what we're going to talk about today is pretty much how it affects you in those like not tangible, those intangible manners. Like most of what we see about mental health, you know, we see our behaviors, like we project these types of things, but the actual effects, what's going on is in our head. And I do have some background in the medical field, and psychology is very interesting, very important. But you know, something to remember is that our brains are just like any other organ in our body. They have a healthy function level, but just like any other organ, they can get ill, they can get sick. And when they do, it's important that you acknowledge it, that you learn about it, and then that you do what you can to help yourself. And in that aspect, organizing is self-care. So
thank you, Malik.
So I'm here to help. I'm here to help whoever and however they need help. And organizing has kind of blown up in these past few years. It's a great thing. You know, you can see all the TV shows. I know. And so it's bringing a lot of awareness to this field that is still fairly new as far as industries go. It only became a thing like in the early 80s. And so now we know that just like many other things in our lives, and especially around the house, organizing is a skill. And some people kind of have it naturally and some people don't, and that's okay. The beautiful thing about skills is that they're teachable and learnable. So I'm here to help you figure out what you don't have, what you do have, work with that and build from it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, now let's deep dive into your business. Right. So when did you start your business? Let me know what made you start your business, and when did you start your business?
Okay, so quite honestly, I'm one of those people to where organizing was kind of a natural skill for me, but I didn't know, you know, what it was. I just love putting things in order. I love creating order from chaos. And I hadn't realized that in work settings and school settings, you know, all throughout the years, I was always that person where someone just, you know, if they had an issue or something like that, they would just come to me like, hey, can you straighten this out? Can you make it make sense? Can you just put it in order? And that was one of the few, you know, extra work tasks that I didn't mind doing. Like, I actually loved it. It's like, yes, absolutely. You gave me a problem to solve. Right. And so this was, again, when I was in the medical field, and every day when I got home from work, it was like my guilty pleasure was watching the TV show Hoarders. If you remember that, there was 2 of them, Hoarders and then Hoarding Buried Alive. It's like, wow, you know, to see that, you know, the state that some people live in, and then to understand that this is fixable, you know, you're not a lost cause or anything like that. And so I would see these people, I would watch these people, they would work with a therapist, and then this team would come in and clear everything out, straighten it up. And it took me, I was watching that show for years before it actually even clicked. I was like, wait, so they do this for a living. This is what they do. I was like, oh, okay. So about 2015, I started actually like doing research into it, looking up the industry, seeing what it's about, things like that. And then I started making plans to start my business. And I did so in February of 2017 was when I actually started my business. And in October of that same year, I left my full-time job and started to do this full-time.
I love it. Look, it's always good when you love what you do, because then it's not a job. Right. I mean, it is a job. We get paid for it being a job, but it's very different when you're doing what you love. Right. Let me scroll up because there was a comment Clutter in my house and car has always been a red flag that depression was close. And it's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what the doctor said to me when I was sick. And I just told him, I was like, look, I think I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. This gastroparesis and me being sick is wearing on me. I said, I feel like the walls are closing in.
Right.
He said, well, I'll tell you what, describe your closet, your bathroom, and your bedroom to me. And so I did. And he said, Sandra, the reason the walls are closing in is because order for you to get your health on track, you're going to need to move your office out of your bedroom.
That's
and
right.
so when he said that, because I literally, when I would get in my bed, it just felt like everything was closing in, although I knew it wasn't, but it felt like it was. But let me tell you, one day I got up off my butt and I just started spring cleaning. And man, it made all the difference in the world. And because I did that is why I'm able to do my lives now. Because the way, the mindset that I was in with all that stuff in my bedroom, I couldn't function. I couldn't find stuff. And I'm a neat freak as it is. So for me not to be neat like that, I knew there was, like they said, red flags. And that's what made me ask my, tell my doctor about that. So kudos to you for spotting the red flags.
Right.
That's a major plus right there. So now you started your business. Why?
I started my business because it interested me. And it didn't take very long. When I first started, I would do, jobs here and there for friends or family, for free or very low cost and things like that.
Right.
And it didn't take long for me to see firsthand how huge of an issue it is, and how it's affecting people. And an unfortunate part of it is that a lot of people carry a lot of guilt and shame around the state of their around their home. And so it's like, not only are people struggling, but with this same exact matter, they have a hang up that's preventing them from reaching out and asking for help. So it was like, oh wow, not only is this needed, but exposure is needed, and as well as, compassion and understanding and objectivity, to reassure people that you're not alone.
Right.
There's not necessarily anything wrong with you. It's that, you just may be overwhelmed. It can be very overwhelming. And just very generally speaking, my entire purpose in life is to be of service to others. And that goes from, I was in nursing for a brief stint at first, and then I joined the military, and then I was in the medical field in another extent. So it's like, everything that I do comes from the purpose of helping others. Like, it's my passion and it's my goal, because life be life, and like we're out here struggling.
It does.
People are struggling, and
people are definitely struggling.
Right. And people just need to know that help is available, that someone is there, that someone can help you, and even a lot of times just listen to you. The amount of emotional support sometimes that I have to lend to my clients is astounding, just in a very like wow type manner.
Right.
I remain objective throughout everything that I do, but it's just it's just that level of understanding, like I say, compassion and empathy in saying that, I understand that you have a problem, but it's fixable. It's fixable, and you can do it, and I'm here to help you.
Now, you used to watch the Hoarder Show, and my kids and I watched the Hoarder Show also. And I would get frustrated with the loved ones of the hoarder. Because, I I know a lot of the shows were probably scripted and things like that, and some of them may not have been. I don't know. What I do know is if you know Grandma House is
Mm-hmm.
getting just a little bit out of control, how about we step in and find out how we can help or what we can do instead of showing up with you, you know, when it's to the point where you can't get grandma's front door open
Right.
and we got mounds of stuff to the ceiling, feces on the floor,
Right.
dead animals. You know, what can the loved ones, when do they, when should they step in? Let me say that. Let me ask you that. Because I know watching the show, I was never mad at the hoarder.
Right.
I was mad at the family for letting it get that bad. You
Right.
know, you know there's a problem. So
Right.
talk about that a little bit and when family should step in and I don't mean that family steps in and says, you need to clean this up right now. You're crazy. No, 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 no. How do we help? How does a family member help before it gets too far gone? Is what I mean.
I would think as soon as a habit is noticeable, then possibly you could initiate a conversation. But I do want to say that these topics are very, very sensitive, and
Mm-hmm.
especially as we know with our older generations,
Yeah.
and
They're set in their
that's
ways.
right. That's right. And it's important to know and remember that that hoarding, actually having actually being a hoarder is a clinical diagnosis. So sometimes I'll come across someone who's just, or actually it's pretty often where somebody's just like, I'm a hoarder. I know I'm in here hoarding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Unless you've been diagnosed with that, you don't know that for sure. And so, it's important to know the difference, because you can be chronically disorganized, like someone who's been disorganized for years, but still not necessarily be a hoarder. And that's important because once, knowing that it's a clinical diagnosis, um, even fellow even fellow organizers, if you go in to help someone who has hoarding behaviors and you don't have any experience or training or anything like that, you can actually end up doing more damage than good because of the level of emotion that's involved
Right.
in this. Um, and so, I would just try my best to take the most hands-off approach first and start just by having a conversation. And that conversation can start with, are you okay? Is there anything on your mind? Have you gone through anything? Because many times what's at the root of hoarding behaviors is some sort of trauma. And unfortunately, I've seen many of your mental health Mondays, and I've heard plenty of stories, read plenty of stories, and it's like when you don't work through your trauma, you're going to carry it around for the
Right.
rest of your life. It doesn't go away. It's not just, you're pushing it to the far depths of your mind. The only thing that you're doing when you're doing that is putting that little rock back there, and it's going to fester and it's going to grow over the years. And so, I know we have a lot of elders that still aren't as open to the idea of mental health and getting help, but that doesn't mean that there's not something present. And so, I would just approach it very as delicately as possible, respectfully, and just with empathy, just understanding that this person may be going through something and you do love them, and that's why you're concerned. And just to, try to keep their emotions and their mindset, in mind, because sometimes it can kind of turn into and we did see it on the show a lot. Sometimes it would turn into the siblings, the children. It's about them, and it's not that their feelings are invalid. It's just that
Right.
let's focus first on who is suffering the most, which is this person
Right.
who is not even living at a functional level. So I would just approach it, very delicately if possible.
I know I always wondered, and I don't now because I don't talk to any of my family, but when I was growing up, my mother held on to every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I move out, and one time because she's got been diagnosed with so much
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and because she's a compulsive liar, we don't know what's real and what's
Right.
not. But I know there was a time that she had went missing, and
Oh,
I
okay.
went into her apartment, and it was just boxes, wall to wall boxes, all the way to the ceiling,
Oh.
covered the whole house, both bedrooms. There was a path about this wide
Mm-hmm.
that went from the front door to the kitchen and down the hallway, and
Mm-hmm.
just a path to get to her bed. The other room you couldn't get in. She was like that my whole life.
Right.
Um, and then when I would go to her mother's house, my grandmother, she was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of them as hoarders because,
Mm-hmm.
this is back in the 70s.
Right.
But I thought I would just call them pack rats
Right.
back in the day,
Right.
because they just held on to any and everything. And it was no rhyme or reason. It's just, I'm not going to get rid of it.
Right.
And I'm just like, I can make money off of it. That was because they own thrift
Right.
stores. So that was their thing. And when I started watching hoarders, I was like, man, my family has a long list of hoarders. No, they've not been diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
but they should be, because it was bad,
Right.
you know. And so I tried to approach the situation just asking, y'all lie, and I'm very blunt. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to be rude to you either. But I was like, are y'all okay? Why are you keeping on to all this stuff?
Right.
Their favorite saying was, because I can make money off of it. So
Mm-hmm.
what I decided, and as a child, I was a neat freak anyway. My room was the only spotless room in the house. My brother turned out just like my mother. He does the same thing, but he
Right.
does his with pills, pill
Mm-hmm.
bottles, and weed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really weird.
Right.
But I made a point, because I seen them,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I'm a little over the top with the cleanliness, just because of how I seen them. My kids are
Mm-hmm.
like, Mom, the house does not have to be spotless. The hell it doesn't. And
Right.
I think that I'm that way because of how I watched them live. And I
Right.
swore that, oh, I will never live like that,
Right.
And
Right.
when I got sick, I couldn't get out of my room,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt like the walls were closing it. And
Right.
that's when I told the doctor, like, hey, something got to happen, because it just always felt like everything was just falling down on me,
Right.
although it wasn't. It
Right.
just felt that way, and I couldn't breathe. And I think it's just because I remembered my childhood, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was in one of those rooms.
Right.
But it didn't take me but 4 hours to get that straight,
Right.
real quick.
Right.
But
Good.
I guess I needed the doctor's reassurance that the walls aren't closing in, type of thing. And that,
Right.
Sandra, it's just you've been in the bed sick so long. Let's declutter. And
Right.
so when I did, I've got I can breathe better now. But
Right.
um, I do know with the elders, it's kind of hard. It
Right.
really is. Malik, he had a comment up here. Sometimes it's a matter of control due to a traumatic incident where control was taken away. That's good.
Absolutely. You
That is definitely on point,
absolutely
Malik.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. And like I say, sometimes these things go as far back as childhood and events occurring after that, and it's just like um something that I was saying to a friend the other day. We were having a discussion about children. It's like, we don't always give it enough credit, but it is not hard at all to traumatize a child.
yeah.
It can be anything, it can be as severe as abuse and neglect and
Right.
things like that. And then sometimes it's just a lack of understanding that, we're guiding these children, but they're still their own little people with their own personalities. And so we have to listen to them to understand exactly who they are. And I say that just because it's just very, very, very easy to traumatize a child. But Malik is absolutely right. It can stem from these traumatic events where something happened to you that was completely out of your control. And so now you're obsessive about having control over everything. On a similar scale, sometimes it comes from loss. Um, you may have lost a loved one, a friend, um, and you start holding on to these things because that's the opposite feeling of loss. Now you're gaining all of these things, and that's giving you a positive feeling for that moment, and then next thing you know, you're just collecting and not really realizing, not really putting two and two together, that you're trying to fill a void. So
Right.
yeah, there's so many different aspects to it. And you know I'm glad he said that, because that can kind of segue, right into having, we're talking about mental health, and so
Mhm.
there are a lot of conditions that can lead to this state as well. Um, Depression, anxiety, even people that have, neurodivergent things like ADHD and stuff like
Mhm.
that, or people who have OCD even.
Mhm.
We usually tend to think about OCD like everything is super clean and super in order and blah blah blah, but
Right.
that's one side of it. On the other side, there are many, many people with OCD who have this same chronic disorganization issue, and somewhere in their brain, sometimes it kind of stems from that same control or loss of control. If things get a little bit out of order, they have a picture in their head of how things are supposed to be.
Right.
But
Yeah.
now that it's out of control and they don't know where to start, they don't know what to do, they just get frozen and don't do anything. And so things continue to pile up and pile up and pile up. So absolutely, someone who has, like severe OCD could actually have a home that looks like a hoarder. So it's multifaceted. There's a lot of psychology involved.
Wow. So for somebody that may be watching or may watch this later on, if they say they wanted to reach out for help, since you're on the live, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
use you as the example.
Sure.
So I am and my house is just out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reaching out to you
Mm-hmm.
and I want help. Go through when somebody first reaches out to you, how the process works. I've just sent you an email and I need help.
Okay.
What would be what's going to be the process? So for somebody watching, they won't be scared to reach out. You know what I
Right.
mean? Some people want to know the
Yes.
process before they reach out.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up, to put a little, ease into your mind. If you
I'm
when
gonna
you
let the
contact
cat
me.
in right quick.
Okay.
You keep talking.
All right. So everyone, when you contact me, the very first thing that we do is called a discovery call. That lasts anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and that's basically just for us to introduce ourselves, and you give me a general idea of what your struggle is, what you need help with. After that, we do an initial consult. Now, during this consult that lasts a little bit longer, it's usually about an hour. We can do that. There's flexibility. We can do that virtually or in person. And that's, for the people who aren't quite okay with letting me in their space yet, that's all right. And we're going to talk some more, and we're going to get more in detail about exactly what your goals are and what your challenges are. And then we're at that point, I'm going to start to develop an action plan. Um, and that's just starting to lay out the steps of how we're going to approach this. Many times people who have an issue or are having a challenge, the biggest thing sometimes is they don't know where to start,
Right.
and why. And so, especially when it's more than one area and more than one room in your home that needs help, but all of them are causing you stress. It's like, okay, well, now we need to prioritize. So let's analyze exactly what's going on in each one of these spaces and how it affects you. And then we'll figure out where we're going to start and exactly how we're going to start. And so when we actually go through the organizing process, it's about three different stages. We start with
Mhm.
the purge stage, and most times that is the lengthiest stage. That is when we go through your area and we're going to make decisions about what you need to keep, what you don't need to keep, and why. And you know, when we get to these points where we're talking about the emotional attachment to some things, this is why people need insight, because it's like, why do I need to keep this? I know I feel some type of way about it, but is it actually helping you? Is it actually serving you? And I heard you say something about the about family members that had a thrift shop. So I know they always had their eyes open just for stuff that could possibly make a dollar or anything like that. I help people go through things like that when they've just accumulated like all of this stuff. And one
And
thing
it
that I hear,
accumulates
yes,
quickly.
yes, very much so. Very much so. Next thing you know, it's a mountain and you don't see how it happened.
Yeah.
And one painful truth that I do have to tell people sometimes when we're getting rid of things is, you know, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to waste the money. I don't want to waste the money to just get rid of it. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be straightforward with you. It's not a waste of money when you get rid of it. It was a waste of money when you purchased it. And
Right.
things like that, you know, that awareness is just like, dang, I didn't really think about it like that. But that awareness can even help you if you keep that in your mind when you're out in the store and when you're out in Amazon and things like that. You know, this is a thought process and a mindset um, of being organized, and you'll start to evaluate things maybe just a little bit tighter before you even purchase them. It's like, well, wait a
Right.
minute, I just got rid of all of that stuff. I don't want to add back to it. Do I really need this item? And those of us who are avid shoppers usually need, this is something that we have to keep kind of close to home because it'll seem so awesome in the store, and it's just like, that's not really going to serve you.
Right.
So we go through, we purge, and one more reassurance point: I'm not here to make anyone get rid of all of their stuff. That's not my goal, and like I said before, that can actually cause more damage in the long run. But I am helping you put a very objective evaluation on your things and helping you make these decisions. So after we purge, and kind of sometimes this process can start during the purge, but the next stage is sorting. This is where we put your items into different categories based on what they are, how you use them, what you use them for, where you use them. And then from there, we go into the final stage, which is arranging. And then that's actually putting things in place, giving them a permanent home, and defining that. Why should that live here? Why do you need it in this space? You know, from things to proximity to frequency of usage. You know, you keep those off-season things, you keep those out of the way, but um, just just finding a home that makes sense both to you and to your space. And there's no one cookie cutter answer for all of these things. You know, there's all sorts of tips and tricks out there, and it's a beautiful thing. But the reason I have a job is because everyone needs everyone's space, everyone's lifestyle, everyone's personality, everyone's family, everyone's learning style. All of these things are different in every single individual.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times what happens is, you know, sometimes people can take some tricks and tips and go and some general advice and go buy all these fancy containers and they're pretty, and then they get them in there and it's like, this still isn't working. Why? It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's just like, it's most likely because the advice that you were taking was not designed specifically for you. So
Right.
that's my job, to try to put all of these puzzle pieces together to combine your needs with my knowledge and my expertise so that we come up with a system that suits you and your space.
Okay, so now what are some red flags that we should look for? Not only the people that have family members that are the hoarder, but also the person who may be the hoarder. What are some red flags that to look for?
Um, Red flags, you know, I guess most simply could be, you know, this accumulation of things you don't need. But on a deeper level, it can be, how do you feel about them? How do you feel about these things? What is your level of emotional attachment to these things, and why? What, you know, why are you keeping things that you don't necessarily need or use? And there can be some very difficult answers in there. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But something else is, how is it affecting you? How is the clutter around you affecting you in your day-to-day life? Like you say, once it gets to the point where there are just small pathways to get through the home, and this isn't a storage area where you have all this your actual home, then you probably are somewhere on the hoarding scale. And that's another thing that I'll mention. Hoarding can be on it exists on a scale. Um, and so there's different levels to it. I highly recommend looking at the Institute for Challenging this organization. Their website has a very, very good clutter and hoarding scale. And they break it down in different, they address the emotion, they address the function, they also address, sanitation, like we say, some people may have, in very serious cases, may have like animal feces, rotting food, things like that. If things like that are accumulating, then most likely there could be some hoarding behaviors going on. But I highly recommend looking on that website, the Institute for Challenging this organization, and looking at their chart. They have a very, very good chart that helps break it down.
Now, for somebody that may be watching that is like, wow, this looks like something I might want to do. So you started in 2017. So you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of being in this type of field.
Yes.
What is some advice that now that you've learned all that you have over the years, what's some advice that you would give people that might want to get in this particular field?
I would say to, of course, first and foremost, do your research. Institute for Challenging this organization, that's a resource. Another good resource is called NAPO. That's the National Association of Productivity and Organizers, and they have a lot of resources, a lot of information on their website, a lot of studies. And after that, possibly reaching out to an actual organizer in your area and seeing if they wouldn't mind if you shadowed them on their jobs, because TV can make it look very glamorous, but just being honest, it can be a very difficult job. Even first and foremost, being labor intensive, you have to understand that you're almost, in a sense, almost a mover. Like you're having to move heavy objects, empty out people's closets, people's pantries, and to ask yourself whether or not that's something that you acknowledge, accept, and would be willing to do on a regular basis. Also, I would check or think about your customer service and how that again is a skill. That's something that you can build, but you do understand that you're going to be dealing with people in very, very emotional, highly emotional states. And,
right.
If you're unable to remain objective and unable to even offer that support, because it's intangible, but that's very labor intensive as well, being there for someone emotionally, and being empathetic and separating yourself from it. So again, I would just say do a lot of research, talk to organizers if you're able to, and have a conversation, give them an interview, and just learn about it as much as you can first before you make that decision.
Now, what is your favorite part about your business?
My favorite part, it's probably a tie between the problem solving portion of it. Like I say, there's a lot of this which is just kind of naturally how my brain functions, and when I'm trying to come up with a solution for you and your space, in my brain, it's like a puzzle. So once I'm sliding these pieces around, I'm moving these pieces, and I'm making this puzzle come together. That's very that gives me a huge sense of accomplishment, and it actually it gives me the brain stimulation that I actually need. It's like if I don't have problem to solve, I'm gonna get real. I might get a little funky. I might have a little attitude. It's insane. Once I actually figured it out, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm feeling this way because I'm not being challenged enough up here. So I need that type of creative problem solving. And then right there running neck and neck is just the satisfaction, seeing the joy and the happiness and the relief on my clients' faces once it's all said and done, because it's a process. You know, sometimes anxiety is high, and my clients can't always see the end result that I can see at, you know, when we start and as we're going through it. And you know, so they're very tense, they're very uptight and just kind of wound up. And you know, I just have to provide that reassurance, like I promise it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. I know it's gonna get a little worse before it gets better, but there is this light at the end of the tunnel, and you're gonna see. And once we get there, it's like, oh my God, how did you do that? How did you, you know, because it's this process, this laid out process. And like I say, the end part is usually kind of the fastest part, or the quickest part. So we can go from having this stuff all over the room to that same day, it's all put away, it's all where it needs to be, and it all makes sense to you. And they're just like, oh my God, thank you. Like, I have had some people come to tears, and then at that point, my objectivity kind of goes out the window a little bit. It's hard for me to not cry when I see someone that happy, that relieved, and I can literally see this weight come off of their shoulders. It's like, oh my God, thank you. Now I can function. I'm like, my pleasure. Like literally, like Chick-fil-A, but it's real. It's like, no,
Right.
it's my pleasure to help you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. So since you've started your business, what has been the most challenging part of your business?
The most challenging to me, honestly, was learning the back office end stuff of business just in general. It doesn't matter your industry. When you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're working by yourself, I didn't have this understanding coming in that I'm actually, it's like, oh my goodness, I have to play all the roles. I'm the employee, I'm the manager, I'm the employer, I'm the marketing department, I'm the administrative department, and I'm the CEO. So it's like, whoa, right. When we work our regular, you know, 9-to-5 jobs, we can get kind of siloed into our job position and description and what we do. And it's like, so, you know, constantly having to shift gears in my head, like, okay, I've been doing all this back office work today. Oh, now I actually have to go work with a client. So sometimes that was very difficult, was learning to make this adjustment and understanding that, you know, even though that's what's laid out in front of me, it still is my vehicle to drive. There are no, you know, when I'm putting it together and laying it out, I'm Googling, and I'm looking for this, I'm looking for all of these answers. And it's like, they're not there. You are looking for the template that you have been called to build. And there isn't that. You have to write all the rules. You have to make the standard operating procedure. So it was a really big mindset shift in waiting for someone to tell me what to do versus, oh, I tell me what to do. I have to figure this out for myself.
So we have a question. Okay. How do you approach organizing what you do?
How do I approach organizing what I do? This is Ragamuffin Kristen. I see you. Okay. Hey, Kristen.
The resident RN.
Right. Could you elaborate just a little bit? Just in
Kristen, what exactly do you mean by that question? She's gonna come back with it. You know she is.
Of course, absolutely. I love it.
Now, do you have to have any specific background to be able to do this type of job? So if there's somebody out there that's thinking, hey, maybe I want to do this, what type of background or class or okay, wait a minute. She says prioritizing what you do first when you have multiple tasks. Ooh, that's a good one, Chris.
That's a very, very good question. I would say first and foremost, it's looking at the level of importance or the level of impact. What is causing you the most pain as far as your space is concerned? What is giving you the most, what's making you dysfunctional? What are you struggling with? And when it's multiple tasks, it may involve, a few different things. One way to look at organizing is the things that you organize generally fall into three main categories. There's your physical objects, your stuff. There's your data, your information, which, that's digital, that's paperwork, that's all of that stuff. And then there's your time. So it's like, are you running out of time? What is it that are you not making it to places on when you're supposed to be there? Are you forgetting your appointments? So I think first and foremost, I would try to figure out where the things that are challenging me, where they fall, try to place them in their proper category, and then try to figure out which one is causing you the most pain, which one is making you the most dysfunctional, and start from there.
Gotcha. Now back to the other question. Do people need a specific degree, or what should people have, or maybe classes they should take before they step into this particular field? Because from what I can see just from watching Hoarders, not just anybody can do that. It's got to be somebody, one, that has a good bedside manner. I learned just watching the show. But I noticed a lot of them had a specific background. They were either therapists, some type of, sociology background. So, I mean, what would you recommend now that you've been doing this several years, so you see everything that, comes with it? What would you recommend for people to do as far as background wise?
Okay.
Or maybe class to take?
Okay, that's a really good question. Because technically there is no qualification. If you decide to wake up tomorrow morning and say, "Hey, I'm a professional organizer," technically you can do that. Is that the best thing to do ethically? If you don't have the skill at bare minimum, probably not. And that would be the first thing I would say to look at, is to look at your own organizing skills. How organized are you? And secondly, like you said, bedside manner. There's a difference between organizing things for yourself and your family and then doing it for someone else, because that's who you're serving. You're serving your clients and not yourself. And that took a little while to realize too. I think my first few jobs, I was just doing what made sense to me.
Right. And
then I got a client, and it was like, the system that I ended up designing actually made no sense to me at all, but it made sense to her. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, my what makes sense to me isn't going to make sense to everyone else. So I guess that's a certain level of empathy that you have to be able to step into someone else's space and essentially into their mind and try to understand them. Now, me, myself, personally, I am a huge proponent of education. I can't help it. I've always been that way. And so when I first started doing my research after I was learning, that was one of the things that I started to look up. I was like, okay, where are there courses that I can take, to have some more understanding, if nothing else than just in the theory behind this. And so again, the two resources I listed earlier, NAPO and Institute for Challenging Disorganization, they have they have tons of professional organizing courses.
Now, are they paid courses or free courses?
Yes.
Okay.
They are paid. The vast majority of them. They may have a free course here or there, something simple, but I would look at that as an investment, because it's credibility to me. It's a concrete credibility when you can say you have actually at least taken one course that's specific, that's geared for this. Another course that I took, actually, which was a little more budget friendly, was what is the name of that school? IAP, Career College. This is an online school, and it's not, they have college in their name. It's important to remember that they're not an actual college. This is the place where that has a variety of courses for so many different industries. And they have one for professional organizing, which was, I was, for the price that it was, I was really astonished at the level of information that I got.
Wow,
So
awesome.
there's that. And then again, me myself being a huge proponent of education, you know, it's like I wanted to keep learning. I want, like, okay, what else can I learn? Give me more, give me more. So in 2018, I went back to school. I went to Virginia State University and I earned a bachelor's degree in family and consumer science, which family and consumer science is kind of like the newer term for what they used to call home economics.
Oh,
right. They don't call it that anymore because it's so much more than, you know, sewing clothes and you know, food and or cooking a meal. That is still included, but it's you know, it's a much wider net. You take things from personal finance to human development to classes in learning about different families, different cultural families. Like, it was really, really, really awesome. I love that degree. And now currently I'm working on my master's degree in education. This will be in, thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. This will be in organizational leadership, not organization as I'm speaking, but organization as in a group, a structure, and things like that. As in
I love
business.
home economics, right? That was one of my favorite classes in school.
One, it usually fun, and then, you know, you get into that, and then you actually find
cool stuff, and we got to clerk.
Right. And then when you see these things, it's like you actually find that there is indeed a science to making your home run efficiently and effectively. Like, it's not, you know, I even hate the fact that it's an elective in school. I'm like, this is necessary. Like, this, people need to know how to make their homes run, you know, so that there wouldn't be so many adults that don't have these necessary life skills. But
Malik said I'd get my flirt on with the home ec class when it was time for them to cook.
You know what? You know what?
And
it seems like, why, I think that was kind of an overall theme. It always seemed to be those elective teachers that were the baddies. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly how they used to do.
I was that way with PE. It was PE for me.
Right.
That a lot of schools don't have home economics anymore. Wow, that's
right.
sad.
It's terrible, right? And it's like, and I'm sitting here.
That's a needed skill.
That's right. That's right. And that's why, you know, I kind of see the importance being, you know, grabbed away from this more and more and more. And at the same time, I see more and more adults who are dysfunctional at home, who don't have these life skills that they need. And that's the main reason why I'm getting my master's degree. That is because, you know, I'm doing hands-on organizing, but this is not the end-all be-all. There are really, really big goals that Space Solutions is going to accomplish. And one of them is going to be teaching these courses, teaching these classes, and teaching these life skills that a lot of us as adults just don't have. You know, I had organizing, but there are a lot of life skills that I did not have coming out of my house.
Right.
And, you know, of course, it's no fault of my own.
And I think that's with a lot of us in our community.
Right.
So when you're at that level and you're teaching, that is going to be a game changer for our community, because especially like Kristen just said, they've taken it out of some of the schools. So they're going to be able to come to you, you know, and learn some of those things, because a lot of us are single parent households, and that parent's always at work.
Right.
So the kids are left to kind of fend for themselves. So a lot of times the elders are too old, you know, to teach those skills at this day and age. Now, back when we were growing up, it's different. Elders were there, they were babysitting us, and they were, you know, teaching us. Now, people are grandmas at very young age, you know, and they're still working 9-to-5 jobs.
Right.
So what you are getting ready to do is, going to be a game changer for our community specifically. So
Absolutely.
kudos to you, and
Thank
I
you.
can't wait. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited. That's gonna be awesome.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm excited too. I
I'm
can't
gonna come
wait.
take the class just so I can go live in the class on Black Connections so everybody can get firsthand
Yes,
knowledge,
ma'am.
and
Yes, ma'am.
I think it'd be great. Now let me ask you this. Do you think people that do this particular skill, because sometimes you guys do get those hoarders that their house is just, oh my God, when you go through the door, have you ever thought about people in that field being CPR certified?
Hmm. That is a really good
Because
question or a really
you
good
never
point.
know what you're going to walk into.
That's
I know
true.
on Borders, there was a gentleman that had an oxygen tank. There was a lady that was literally dying on one of those
Oh,
shows because of the fumes from her own feces
oh
and
my
stuff.
goodness.
And
Yes,
they had to
ma'am.
dial 911.
Right.
And the lady that had came in to do the organizing, she did not know first aid. Kristen
Right.
said absolutely. The registered nurse said absolutely. But yeah, I
Right.
just thought about that. I wonder
Yeah.
if that might not be a bad thing, for people to get under their belt that are doing this. Kristen said, I have the suspicion you're going to end up with your doctorate. Hey, we
Hey,
can
right. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I'm gonna go ahead and put that
I love
on the
it. I
to-do
love it.
list. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking
I,
it into
hey,
existence.
I definitely do not plan on stopping learning anytime soon. So thank you
I love
for that. That's an idea and
it.
encouragement. All
Doctorate
right.
is definitely coming, Malik said.
Thank you. Oh my
I
goodness,
love
y'all are
it.
awesome.
Oh my
Thank you so
goodness,
much.
I love it.
Yes.
So look, I always ask people, when they come on the live, because I'm always curious. And also because I love to put y'all on the spot, right? Look, that's why I'm gonna give y'all the questions ahead of time. Y'all ain't gonna have no time to read these questions in reverse. I
Right.
want it real and raw
Right.
on the live, right?
That's right.
So if you
That's
had the
right.
opportunity to speak to your younger self today,
Mhm.
with all that you've learned over the years, and you're a business owner, you piling up these degrees, what would you tell her? If you had the opportunity to talk to her right now, what would you tell her?
I would just tell her honestly to keep going. There's so much uncertainty that comes in our youth and things like that. And it's like, oh, well, what am I doing? Which direction am I going? I don't know. And someone like me who was trying to figure it all out before I actually did it. I'm a downside to me liking to learn and problem solve and being such a critical thinker is that overthinking aspect sometimes. And if I stop and I think too much, I'll actually get that paralysis by analysis. I used to get that a lot in my younger years, just
Right.
because it was like, well, I don't see it yet. I haven't figured it out. So no, I'm not going to make a move and do anything. It's like go, just go do it. And I'm still pretty sure I would have taken the same path, but maybe it would have come a little bit sooner. Maybe, possibly. It's not that's not guaranteed, and I do trust. I'm like, hey, everything in God's time. But just I would have spoken to myself in those really unsure and insecure times, and just reassured myself, like, hey, no, you're going in the right direction. Keep going.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
So,
you.
girl, look, tell everybody what your business is, how they can find you. You guys, I'm getting ready to put her thing in here again. You guys, make sure
Thank
you
you.
follow, because she's not just an organizer, but she is just good people. Okay,
Thank
Miss
you. Thank
Gloria is
you.
my new adopted sister. We did
Yes.
bar together.
Yes.
Look, it was
Yes.
hilarious. We
We had the
enjoyed it.
best time.
We
Oh my goodness.
we're definitely going to have to do that again.
Yes.
But she is just a sponge of knowledge.
Oh,
And, I want everybody to follow her. Please follow her, because she is just a sponge of knowledge, and she's, about to get her master's and her doctorate, and she's going to have her academy where she's teaching classes. I mean, she's just got it going on, and she's going to help y'all organize your life.
Yes.
Period. Yes. So tell everybody about your amazing business after that.
All right. I know, right? You spoke it all the way up for me. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
No,
I gotta talk you up. I just love me some you.
Same, sis. Like, I am so glad I randomly hopped on that live some weeks ago and we
Girl,
connected.
I am too, because look at this. Yes. You randomly popped in on the expo. Yes. We threw you on the live.
Yes.
You're at my house doing yoga and ballet with me. Yes, we're having a card reading. We're having our lives read on a live. Right. And then now we are talking about your amazing business and getting you out there so you can help people change their lives for the better. I mean, and all of it happens so quickly. Look at this.
Right when it was supposed to.
Exactly. Everything happens for a reason. And I believe the ancestors are always working. They are never not working. Right. Yes. And because I left everybody in 2022, now the ancestors are realigning me in a different direction. And they have put all of you beautiful ladies in my path that I'm forming great bonds with. Yes. And we're getting the word out about your amazing businesses. And yours specifically hits home for me, because of the whole situation with my family. Right. So when you were telling me what your business was, I was just like, oh, girl, I wish I'd have known you in the 80s.
Right.
So you could have got the whole family together, aside from me, because I was just a neat freak. I'm not OCD, or I don't know, maybe I could be a little OCD. I don't know. But I just like clean. I like clean. Right. Yes. I'm going to put your thing in here and tell everybody to follow you, but you let everybody know what your wonderful business is and how they can find you. And I'm going to type.
All right. Again, everyone, my name is Gloria Miles. My business is Space Solutions. You can find me. My website is www.spacesolutionsorganizing.com. And you can find me on Instagram at ClearSpaceOHM, as well as Facebook, ClearSpaceOHM.
I love it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I love what you're doing. And I wish I would have known you before we cleared out this garage. We got a trash can in the driveway. And I threw, because I'm sentimental a little bit, a lot. Okay, I'm sentimental. I really am, because when I was a kid, I don't have anything of mine when I was a child. You know what I mean? My mom threw everything away. Right. When she sent me away, she threw everything away, and it was like I never existed. I'm talking pictures, everything. So with my kids. Nice interview. Thanks for the information. You are more than welcome. All of you guys, please follow.
Thank you. Thank you.
I held on to sentimental things, like my girls' prom dresses and, stuff like that. But when the doctor told me to declutter my room, I didn't just declutter my room, because I had to come out of my room. Right. So we had to declutter the garage. Right. And the garage was where we were storing everything. And so, girl, when I'm going to tell you, I was so proud of myself. My kids were so proud of me. I was throwing stuff away like you would not believe. All their VHS tapes. Girl, you would not believe the money we threw away. Oh, I was crying. Right. Not the fact that I was throwing it away, but I know how much money I had put in that stuff over the years. Right. And I'm just, wait, Disney's worth money now, right? No? I mean, can we put it on eBay? And my kids were laughing at me. I'm like, y'all, I'm just joking. I was not going to put any of that on eBay. But that was how I was, at that particular time and moment. I was just like, no, we can't get rid of everything. But I did. I got rid of it all. And I'm okay with it. I was okay with it that day. There's not one thing that I threw away. Yeah, she's up here on top of this thing. It's not one thing that I threw away, and I was like later on thinking, damn, I wish I wouldn't have threw that away.
Right.
I let it go,
Good.
because I wanted to breathe,
Yes.
and because I knew I needed to bring my business out here. So
Right.
I was on a mission,
Right.
help
Right.
me get myself out of bed,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I don't even want to get
Right.
out of bed.
Right.
But with Black Connections being in the garage, I have no choice. I
Right.
got to get out,
Right. Right.
So
Right. That's
I was on a
awesome.
mission to get this garage clean
Mm-hmm.
to force myself to get out of the bed,
Right.
even though I'm still sick
Right.
and I'm, not doing well medically sometimes,
Right.
but I got rid of it.
Right.
I got
Yes.
rid of it. Malik, you can come
Yes.
on anytime, sweetie. So this was my first time here. Both of you have been very motivational and informative. Well, we are glad to have
Thank
you.
you. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Welcome. Welcome to the
yes,
community. And I'm so happy you're
absolutely.
here, and I appreciate
Yes.
that. I appreciate your
Matter of
kind
fact,
words.
let me go follow now because, will it let me follow? Yes. Because and I hate that these comments don't stay. At
Right.
first, when I first was doing Black Connections, when you would post your lives,
Mm-hmm.
the comments always
Right.
stayed. Then updated and the comments don't stay anymore. So, but
What?
what we are going to do for those of you that watched, the information that she was dropping, I'm going to have her DM me that, and when I put the stuff in the caption, I will put those websites there as well, for you guys to go to. Maybe you want to take some of the classes. You'll have that information. So she's going to DM me that information, and I will add it to this live so you guys can go to the websites if you need to, and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Well, I am so glad
will.
that the instructor allowed us to do our hour live,
Yes.
man. Because
Yes.
we'd have got it in 30 minutes if we had to.
Right.
I mean, we'd have
Right.
pulled it off.
Right. We have made it happen, but I'm glad this was able to flow a little bit better and more relaxed. So yes, I'm very grateful
I love
that she did
it.
that. And I also have to take a moment.
Girl,
Sandra.
if we'd have known you didn't have class, you could have came to the house.
I know. We talked about that last time, didn't we? Like, I really wanted to. And
Yeah.
I was like, make sure I'm ready for class.
Schedule another one, we'll do another one again.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about all of this again.
Yes.
And then that one we can do face to face. Because I done rearranged the garage and I flipped the couches.
Did you really?
Okay. I didn't flip the couches. I flipped the banner. Okay. So the banner is now behind the big couch.
Okay.
So we can move the ring light back and get everybody on the couch. Nice. I did that because I didn't mind that I wasn't on the live, but I knew all three of y'all were kind of close quarters.
Right.
So after that, I did some rearranging in the garage. Okay. So so from now on, we got that y'all can be on the big couch, for that 3-way conversation.
I'm glad you did that. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
As our organizers, there's always room for improvement. That was a good idea. Glad you did.
Yeah. And now we could just push the camera back and get everybody on the couch. Yes. So awesome. I was like, yay!
Right. I'm excited.
We'll do another live, and then you can come here and we'll do the live together. And I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yes.
And so I'm proud of you. Keep up the awesome work that you're doing. What you're doing is needed in our community. It really is, because a lot of our elders are hoarders, and it's just, they just hold on to stuff.
Right.
And some of them don't even realize that they're holding on to too much, and it's okay. That's why we have people like you to help out families. So if you don't mind, DM me the things that you mentioned. Do they happen to have Instagram pages by chance?
I think so.
If they don't,
I know 2 of them, but I'll check.
If you just DM me the website, and I'll just put the websites in the caption. That way anybody who was watching, if they don't want to go back and rewatch the whole thing to get the information, it'd be in the caption.
Okay. awesome.
And
That's a
then
good
that way we
idea.
can get some more people doing what you're doing.
Yes, yes, come, join.
Yes,
We need
you
it.
would
We'll
be
always
good.
need it. Well, thank you so much
Yes,
for having me, Sandra. And let me take like a quick second to give you your flowers. Like, thank you for everything that you're doing. I shared your profile a little bit earlier. I was texting people to let them know. And I realized, like, it just clicked. I was like, wait, some of these people that I'm texting are business owners. Like, connect with her, connect with this woman. Like, everything that she is doing is to support Black businesses and to support the Black community. And this is what we need. This is what we need in our community. These real connections, these links, and this support. And it's like, you don't have to do what you're doing, and you do. And so I appreciate you, and I know everyone in your community appreciates you as well. Like, it's an awesome thing that you're doing. I love it. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I just love me some us.
Right. I know
really
that's
do.
right.
I really
Yes.
do.
Love
I
it
love
here.
me some
Yes.
us. And, you know, mental health is important in our community, you know, and it's weird. Today I posted gymnast and not a gymnast, track and field.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing the long jump, did an amazing job. Then I go on Twitter, and Angel was just being blasted. The young lady that did the ring thing, she's being blasted, and I shared both of them. I shared the track and field young lady. She's doing great in her field. But I also shared the stuff with Angel, and it's a meme that is going around because people need to understand mental health is real in our community. And I showed it in two different lights. So you see the Black girl, she's talking to herself. The young lady, I want to say her name is Jasmine, but she's talking to herself. She's psyching herself up because she knows she got to run down there and do that long jump. So she's talking to herself, positive affirmations she's saying to herself, right? So that was positive, positive mental health. She's helping her mental.
Right.
Then we come full circle and we got negativity.
Right.
Young lady that she did right. She won the championship, you know, for her team. And she was being taunted the whole game, being taunted the whole time. So, you know, when she was putting it on them, she let her know, I don't see you. I don't see you. Because we about to, LSU was about to mop the floor with y'all. We don't see you. Then when it came down to the end, she's like, who got the ring? Who just got the ring? So you taunted me this whole time. But I stayed focused because what am I? I'm a strong Black woman. And I stayed focused. And what did I didn't let you affect me. And I just won this game. We just won this game.
That's right.
You know, so I want people, I shared both of them specifically today because I want people to see the mental health that we deal with. We you know, the mental health that's going on. So we're dealing with positive stuff. Yeah, we get that. But look at what we also have to deal with. We're dealing with all this negativity too. So I strategically shared both of those ladies on purpose today. And what I love about it is they're both doing numbers as far as the views. But our community, the negative posts that went up, our community is giving her positivity. So, you know, although it's a negative meme towards her, our community is stepping up and letting her know, no, you did that. You know, you did that, and you didn't do anything wrong. You know, everybody knows in sports there's a level of, you know, S-talking going around. We're going to do that. But that was taunting that young lady was doing to her, and all she did was the script and back on her. And the thing that happened was the Black girl backed it up. You know, the white girl in her own right. She scored. She broke history apparently with how many points she scored, and that's cool. But we the MVP. over here.
Right.
We won the title.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter. All that you did not stop this young lady from shining. And that's why I put it on my page, because I know what we do.
Right.
When we see negativity towards our community, we talk that person up. We give them their flowers.
That's right.
So that, you know, mental health ties into a lot of stuff for me.
Into
and
everything.
So yes, and that's why I kind of did that today. So it came around full circle.
Right.
And then we end with you, you know, who is helping people's mental health. You know, so I appreciate that. I appreciate everything that you do, and our community needs more people like you, because people don't, hoarding can get out of control very quickly.
Right.
And so that's why I'm glad that we were able to talk about the red flags and stuff like that for anybody that comes back and watches this later.
Right.
So thank you for coming on today. And we're going to have to get together in the near future and do lunch or something.
Yes.
Because now that, you know, we only 15, 20 minutes apart.
I was about to say, we live too close not to. So
now we know we're right down the road from each other.
Right.
Thank you for coming on today. And you know what? Your teacher, the ancestors must have had a conversation with the teacher to let the teacher know, can you like cut them some slack today and they don't have to be there at 5 o'clock? Because we got some things we need to do.
Right.
She needs to talk to the community.
Right. Right.
So I'm so glad. But yes, I'm so glad you were here today. And you've got such a calming, nurturing energy, Kristen said.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Kristen been in the corner pocket this whole live. Child, thank you. I really appreciate it.
She always in Denver, but she don't miss these lives. Right. If Kristen is alive, she ain't feeling good.
I know that's right.
She is alive.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you to everyone else who tuned in. I really appreciate you being here. I hope everyone learned something, picked something up, got a little bit of insight, and is ready to get that space in order. And
yes,
I'm here to help.
Well, I am so proud of you, and I will talk to you in a second, because I'll slide in the DM and get those websites from you, and then I'll post them up with comments that go under this. So thank you very much. Aw, Kristen giving you your flowers. He's giving you your flowers. Oh, everybody giving you your flowers.
Yes, and you as well. I appreciate it. Make sure I'm following.
Today's not about me. Today's about you. Today's your day. It's all about you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. So much love. Thank you.
Love you, girl.
Love
you
too. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We appreciate you, and we will see you next Monday.